got 2 brews. We're going to do a Stone 15th Anniversary Black IPA. Ingredients include 11 pounds pale malt, some crystal malt, chocolate malt, light DME, Columbus Tomahawk Citra, candy sugars, Citra, Pacific Jade, California Ale for the yeast, and some Nelson Sauvin for dry hops. Probably pronounced that wrong, but that's okay. A good shot of the grains. Should be pretty dark. Taking a grain temperature, should be around 60, I think. Yeah, 65. Yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
So we just heated up our water to 170 degrees, about 4 gallons of water. Added our grains, and which brought it down to 152 degrees, which is our target temperature.
Alright, so now we've got our mash going now for about 15-20 minutes. We're heating up our sparge water. We got about 4 or 5 gallons in here. We're gonna heat it up to about 170, 180 degrees and throw it in our sparge tank. So now that our mash is over, we're taking cool runnings. Eric is taking cool runnings. First runnings is to set the grain bed, or cool runnings, first runnings, however you want to call it. And we just put the wort back in to filter out. The grains will filter everything out. We make sure we get a nice clear wort. We pour it back on top of the grain bed lightly. Once we're done doing that, we'll put it in the kettle and start our boil. Alright, so we're draining out our wort out of the mash tun into the boil kettle that we have. And we've also got our sparge arm set up with our hot liquor tank ready to go on top of the grain bed nicely so it doesn't disrupt it. The grains will filter it out. We'll go back into the boil kettle. Once that's done, we'll start the boil on that guy, and we'll be right back.
Looks pretty good.
Alright, so we collected about 6 gallons of wort from the mash tun, which is a little bit less than what we originally wanted and what we originally thought, but we can always add a little bit extra to the end. You want to talk about what we're going to do next, Eric?
Yeah, we're going to take our keg here. We're going to light our burner and get our boil going.
Alright, so we're getting close to a boil. We're going to go ahead and add the 1 pound DME to the 11% Black IPA. I'll go ahead and add it and you go ahead and stir. We did turn the burner off to do this because you do not want to scorch the DME as you're adding it. Yeah, this is going to help us. This is going to help us get to the 11% alcohol that we want. Since this is such a high gravity beer, in Beersmith we're looking at almost a 1.1 original gravity for this. So the grains got us to a certain point. We didn't take any measurements. We're going to add this, and hopefully, once we're done boiling, it'll get us up to that 1.1 gravity. second addition of hops.
And our candy.
And our candy.
Oh my god!
What the hell? Alright, that's our 15-minute addition. Half of what we were supposed to do.
No, it wasn't not half. It was at least 3/4.
Alright, it was most of it. We'll see how this turns out. Alright, we got a Whirl Flock tablet to add. We're about in between 10 to 15 minutes before the end of the boil. We're going to throw that guy in and give it a stir. Next, we'll add our yeast nutrient in about 10 minutes before the end of the boil or so. And then we have our last addition of hops. And we'll meet you then.
Alright, so I got about a minute left. I'm going to add our last hop addition of Pacific Jade and Citra hops.
This guy. We had to cook the chiller a little bit early so we could sterilize it.
Important.
Sterilization. Sterilize, sterilize, sterilize.
Yep.
We just turned the flame out and we just turned on the chiller so it's blowing right behind the camera. So if you see any steam, that's what it's coming from.
Yep. So we're going to wait until it gets down to about, what, 70 degrees?
Yeah, probably about 70 degrees. That's best for pitching the yeast, which is still on its starter right now inside.
Yep, and we're going to pitch the yeast and then we'll be done.
Alright, so we got done with our boil. And now we're transferring into our fermenter.
Going to Browntown.
And man, it is dark. Dark, dark, dark. I think it's probably darker than our oatmeal stuff, huh?
Yeah, I would say so.